Hey guys. All right, so somebody just commented on one of my videos. Something that actually, a question that I've gotten a couple times throughout the years, and I don't think I've ever addressed it. So this subscriber was telling me that her spouse was recently diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, and they are in a mental state hospital, and they are going to be released, of course. But she was letting me know that he is, very scared of Santa Muerte, rightfully so. She's a skeleton, her appearance. And she was just basically asking, if Santa Muerte would mind if she takes the altar down and has a hidden one. And my advice, basically. So I just want to say that that is perfectly okay. I actually found that my devotion was the strongest during the period of time when I had to keep the altar hidden. I want to say it was about a year or so that I would basically erect, like if you look at my older videos, the setup, I'm going to see if I can insert a picture here. So this was the original setup that I have, this one and the following picture. So I would take this was the very beginning. This was my little setup, and I can make a video letting you know where I got the stuff. And then this next picture was also my setup that I would take down and erect. Every single time that he left, I took everything down and I hid it and I put it back up. So during the time that he was at work, I would put her offerings, I would buy her flowers, I would put the apple, and then I would put everything away in a box along with the offerings. So obviously I talked to Santa Muerte and I know she understood. If that's what you have to do, then there's nothing wrong with that. Now, I do think that you should also state to Santa Muerte the areas of your home that are off limits for her. I do not recommend, I know that she's not specifically asking me about magic, but magic, like if she was practicing like witchcraft and stuff like that, it's definitely not recommended for anyone who has any kind of like mental instabilities and things like that, until things get cleared up, because you're manipulating energies and you're also being open to attracting things. It can affect you for somebody who's already struggling with that. At the same time, she's not talking about magic. We're talking about Santa Muerte. And I truly think that Santa Muerte can also help him. I wouldn't recommend... if I was my subscriber that was asking me that question, I would simply pray to Santa Muerte on their behalf. I would ask her to gently, help him overcome these things and, bring mental stability and whatever, to help him, but with very limited interference, as far as like sometimes Santa Muerte can be very tangible, to make sure that she does not scare him or that he doesn't see things, like to keep those kinds of things away from him. So let her know that, for example, the bedroom where he's going to be sleeping is off limits. That's not an area of the house where she can roam. So if you're going to dedicate one small space to her, let her know that that is the space, and until further notice. Obviously, I don't know the details, right, of this specific situation, but I'm just assuming here. I don't know how many people live there. I don't know what the circumstances are, but I would definitely think you would have to cleanse regularly. That I don't know details, so I'm just guessing that he's not in the best state of mind, or he may be struggling, or I don't know how severe it is, or if he's going to be on medication afterwards, but be cleansing when he's not around. So try not to do anything too spiritual that may trigger the paranoia. For example, cleansing, or, I don't know how his mind is going to snowball. I definitely think you should close all portals. What I mean by that are mirrors, windows, closets. I don't know what kind of energy has been circulating in the home with him struggling with the paranoia and things like that, or for how long it's been. But you could have been... This is like a side note. Depending on how long it's been going on, he could have been maybe attract, if there's negativity or fighting or suffering or crying, that can attract negative energies, especially if there are things like mirrors and things like that. So cleanse with ammonia, like Windex, or if you have ammonia, the mirrors, and then with your intention, simply close the portals. Okay, also make sure that he doesn't know that you have a hidden altar, okay? Because it can affect his psyche. Once again, I don't know how severe this is, but it can affect his psyche, right? So you don't have to let him know that you erect it every time he comes. Just remember that the offerings that you put for Santa Muerte in her altar, they're going to reflect what the energy that you want or need from her at that moment, right? So in the past, when I've had like, some issues at home and there's been a lot of turmoil or whatever, I would put chamomile, like the flowers in my supermarket. They sell like the chamomile in the flower section, or like baby breath, or whatever flowers to you or are generally known to bring calmness, like lavender, and with the intention to calm the environment, right? To bring peace. If I was you, right, like I would not offer her tequila or fiery things or or anything spicy or anything like that. You want to give her things to calm the environment, to bring healing, to bring soothing energy, basically. So when you're erecting it, when he's not there, that's the kind of stuff you should be offering her. Tell her to protect your home, to close all the portals, that the only portal should be her altar and only for her. Whenever you light a candle, dedicate it to Santa Muerte. That's really important, because if there are wandering spirits, the candlelight can attract them into your home. And with your husband with schizophrenia, you want to try to cleanse, protect, and then also ask for her intervention, but with him in a very gentle way. I want you to know that I don't know if you know, but in Mexico, for a long time, people had a secret devotion to Santa Muerte, and there is nothing wrong with that. Women, like the old women, the grandmas, they spent their entire lifetime going to church, Catholic church, and no one had any clue that they, in secret, were devoted to Santa Muerte. That was the culture back then. So there is nothing wrong if you keep your devotion hidden to yourself. That's why you have YouTube, you have like me, this and that. You're connected with the devotees around the world. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to prove anything by having your altar out. What matters is your relationship with her, even if it's done in secret, like it was done in Mexico for many, many years, with like the old, grandmas and grandpas and stuff like that. So you shouldn't feel bad. No one should make you feel like you're being like disgraceful for not having an altar out in the open. That's not necessary. So I want to make sure that you understand that.